Healing silence. Don't respond with anger. There is immense power in silence. It is not the one who flees from confrontation, nor the one who hides in the shadows of inaction, but the one who deliberately chooses not to respond to the violence of the moment. You see, when the storm of emotions blows around you, the wisest response is not necessarily to confront or fight it, but to remain calm, still, like a tree resisting the gust of wind. Every word said in anger is just a spark that fuels the fire. But when you choose not to respond, when you make the conscious choice to let the turmoil of others slide over you like rain on the surface of water, you become the one who transforms tumult into calm. He who remains silent in the storm becomes master of the wind. Tribe if. This silence is not a sign of weakness, but of inner strength. It is wisdom to understand that you cannot change the storm, but you can choose to be affected by it or not. There is a profound beauty in the idea that in this silence, you reconnect to a form of power greater than the turmoil outside. You do not react to attacks, but you respond to the situation with self-control. The world likes to hear strong voices, sharp arguments, compelling opinions. But how many times have you seen words shouted into empty space? These words, as powerful as they are, only scream in the wind. By choosing to remain silent, you're showing your children another way. A path of dignity and reflection, where we learn not to let ourselves be carried away by waves of negative emotions, but to observe them without reacting to them. Have you ever thought that in this silence you are showing the path that your children should follow? That this calm is one of the most profound lessons you can offer them? Often, when we speak in anger, we seek to convince, to impose our truth. But the truth doesn't need words. It is found in the authenticity of our being. When you remain calm, you become a living model of this silent truth. You teach your children that calm is not the absence of movement, but the space where wisdom can be heard. Don't imagine that silence is a lack of connection. On the contrary, it is a deep call, an inner dialogue that is much more powerful than 1,000 words. Your children will learn that true strength comes from within, that it is more important to find your own center than to respond impulsively to every external disturbance. In this silence, there is a space where hearts can heal themselves. There is a space where we can finally find ourselves. And in this space, peace settles. It does not depend on external events. It is a reflection of the peace that you have cultivated within yourself. What if your silence became the only language capable of reaching your child's heart? This silence, far from signifying the absence of emotion, is on the contrary a manifestation of wisdom. You do not hide in this silence. You present yourself in its depth. You offer a form of love that cannot be said, but is lived. This may be difficult for a child to understand, but over time they will learn to hear this silent voice. And when that time comes, you will have planted a seed of peace in his heart. Perfect. Here is the second section expanded to approximately 600 words, followed by subsequent sections. 2. Be a living model of self-respect. Every move you make, every choice you make, becomes a lesson for your children. But more than that, every time you respect yourself, you show them a path that they cannot always verbalize, but that they feel deeply. They won't always follow your words, but they will always follow your actions. Children learn more by observing than by listening. They absorb what you are, not what you say. If you forget yourself in the role of parent, constantly sacrificing your needs, your desires, and your well-being, they will come to see this as normal. The respect you expect from them will begin to crumble as they learn that your well-being doesn't matter. They will learn that parental love means self-effacement. But is this really what you want to convey to them? Don't teach your children to respect you. Teach them to watch you respecting yourself. This proverb is an invitation. It's not about giving verbal lessons about respect, but about living in a way that embodies that respect. This self-respect is a daily practice. It starts with making time for yourself, choosing to take care of your body, mind, and heart, even when fatigue seems to set in. Respecting yourself also means allowing yourself to say no without guilt. Respecting yourself means knowing when to withdraw, when to say no to an exhausting request, even if it means disappointing. It is in these moments that you teach the most. Self-respect is not about perfection, but about acceptance. You must accept your own humanity, your limitations, and your needs. When you respect yourself in the way you talk, about yourself, in the way you take care of your physical health, in the moments you rest or give yourself tranquility, you become a living model of what it means to honor your being. It is in your slowness that you teach patience, in your silence that you learn listening. Children need to see that you can be kind to yourself. In a world that constantly pushes people to give without counting, it is vital to show them that it is just as important to recharge, to take care of themselves, and not to lose themselves in exhaustion. Self-respect is a revolutionary act in a world that values limitless sacrifice. But in reality, the greatest gift you can give them is to be a person who respects themselves, a person who has learned to love themselves for who they are, and not for what they give. It becomes a model that teaches them to love themselves, to give themselves permission to be human, to honor their needs without shame. Do your actions toward yourself teach your children how to honor you? If you honor yourself, you show them that dignity is a valued value, not an imposed obligation. You teach them that respecting each other is a form of love, not narcissism. You show them that you, too, deserve to take your place, to speak calmly, not to fade away to please. In this world where so many voices fight to be heard, yours is the first echo they will receive. If you learn to respect yourself, you will give them the opportunity to grow up knowing that they, too, deserve to be treated with love and respect. And that respect starts with how you treat yourself. 3. The hurtful truth. Respect comes from scarcity. There is a moment in the parent-child relationship when we realize that we are so present, so always available, that we lose the sense of our own value. You always answer every call, every request. You're there, constantly. And yet, over time, recognition becomes more and more rare until it disappears. When you are always available, always willing to sacrifice your time, energy, and personal space, you turn yourself into an object rather than a respected human being. The temptation to give everything, to accept everything, to always meet their needs can seem noble. You want to be there for them. You want to offer your support unconditionally. But the truth is, when you don't set boundaries, when you never walk away, you allow the relationship to become unbalanced. You become a silent burden, always there but invisible. Your presence becomes a habit, an expectation, no longer a privilege. African proverb: the tree that gives all its fruit too early has nothing left to offer in the dry season. In this proverb, there is a crucial lesson. A tree that offers its fruit without seasoning, without pause, ends up emptying itself of its sap. There is nothing left to nourish its roots. And that's exactly what happens when you give your all without reservation, never taking a step back for yourself. You get exhausted, you turn off, and respect gradually disappears because there is nothing more to discover, nothing more to expect. It is essential to understand that respect comes from scarcity. When you withdraw a little, when you choose not to always respond, to move away when disrespect manifests itself, you offer the other the possibility of feeling your absence. It is in the void that respect can be rebuilt, in this space left by your silence. Your absence becomes an invitation to reflect on the value of your presence. It is not imposed, it is felt. Do they still have the opportunity to miss you? Maybe they won't immediately appreciate your absence. But over time, when you gently withdraw, not into bitterness or rejection, but into self-respect, they will begin to sense the depth of what you offer them. They will learn that your time is precious, that your attention is a gift. And this respect, much deeper than that which is imposed by a constant presence, will be restored slowly but surely. 4. Feed your vitality, not your frustration. There is a simple truth, but difficult to accept in the daily hustle and bustle. You cannot offer what you do not have. If you forget yourself, if you exhaust yourself by meeting the needs of others without ever nourishing your own roots, you will one day run out of resources. You can give everything, offer everything with love, but you will end up feeling empty, like a cup that is too often filled but never emptied. Parents often drown in the role. They become tired shadows, wandering the corridors of their responsibilities, forgetting to nourish themselves with love, calm, comfort. They become creatures who live for others, forgetting that vitality comes from reciprocity, not from constant sacrifice. If you neglect yourself, you unwittingly teach your children that exhaustion is the norm, that frustration is a must. Take care of your energy. It's the most expensive gift you can give your children. It is not a luxury. It is not a whim of well-being. Nourishing your vitality is essential. You cannot give love and tenderness that you do not have within you. If you don't invest in your own health, your mind, your rest, you will become an exhausted, worn-out, drained parent. And what you thought you were giving will turn into frustration, into tension. Because with every sigh you hold, with every moment of fatigue you ignore, you offer an unhealthy model to your children. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. It is a necessity. You are not a machine, an automaton that serves endlessly. You are a person, a living soul, a being with needs, desires, expectations. If you feed yourself correctly, if you find time to reconnect with nature, to breathe deeply, to drink a quiet cup of tea, you will return to your children not as a shadow, but as a living light. There are simple moments that revive the soul. Walk barefoot in the grass, feel the earth under your feet, breathe in the scent of flowers in the garden. Take a break under a tree and let the breeze caress your face. These moments cost nothing, yet they refill your energy reserves. They are the fuel needed to continue giving your children the love and respect they deserve. What does your energy convey to those around you every day? It may seem like a small thing, a solitary act, but in this simplicity lies immense power. The power to choose not to get carried away by the hustle and bustle of life. The power to choose to be at peace. When you radiate this peace, you become a model for your children, a reference to follow. They will learn that vital energy and inner peace are values that must be cultivated daily and preserved. Frustration, exhaustion, irritation, all of this becomes a constant if you don't nourish your own well-being. But when you are in harmony with yourself, your actions become inspiring. You show them that it is possible to take care of yourself while loving others deeply. You teach them that self-love does not mean neglecting others, but being able to love yourself enough to be an inexhaustible source of love for them. 5. Speak from your heart, not your ego. When pain hides behind the ego, it becomes a weapon. It hides under hurtful words, accusations, defenses. But when pain is expressed with the heart, it becomes an invitation to understanding, to healing. Children don't need perfect parents. They do not need inaccessible models or an authority that never understands the fragility of human beings. What they need to see is an open heart. A parent who, in their humanity, shows them that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. The language of love penetrates where logic fails. Sufi proverb. When you speak from your heart, you don't hide behind strategies or calculations. You are here in all your truth. You're not trying to teach them a lesson. You share your own truth, your own emotions. Speak to them of your pain without shame, of your love without expectation, of your limits with gentleness. Don't impose rules on them in an authoritarian way. Don't force them to conform to an idealized version of parenting. On the contrary, be honest with them. Be authentic. And in this authenticity, you build a bridge of mutual respect. What if vulnerability was the key to regained respect? Children are naturally open to the truth. But the truth is not hidden in judgments or rebuffs. It is found in the gaze that accepts being human. Tell them calmly but firmly, when you ignore me, I feel like I no longer exist in your world. And yet, I have carried you in mine all my life. These words, simple, full of love and truth, will resonate within them. You do not impose guilt on them, but you give them the opportunity to understand. The ego wants to be right. He wants to be heard. But the heart speaks gently. He shares a pure truth, which does not need the approval of others to exist. When you speak from your heart, you are not asking to be respected. You are simply there, in your humanity, and you are paving the way for respect to arise from understanding, love, and trust. You teach them that true respect comes from listening, vulnerability, and honesty. 6. Forgive, but remember your light. Forgiveness is a liberation, but it should not be confused with forgetting. Forgiveness does not mean that you erase everything that hurt you, but that you make a choice. This choice is to no longer carry the burden of pain. This burden, as heavy as it is, can be transformed into a force, a liberating energy if you choose to lay it down while remembering your light. Forgiveness is the art of releasing pain while remembering your worth. Forgiveness is not for the other, it's for you. It allows you to lighten up, to detach yourself from the invisible chains of the past. But that doesn't mean you have to forget how you felt. It simply means that you accept in a sacred way that you have the right to release this pain, to move forward in your own light. You are worthy of love, of respect, of gentleness, even if it has to come from you first. This is not an act of weakness, but a reclamation of your inner power. Forgiving does not mean letting yourself be walked on. It is an affirmation of your limits, of your value. Allow yourself to say, I can no longer stay in this place of pain. I choose to break free. To forgive is to honor your own essence, your own needs. It is a way of honoring yourself, of accepting that your light is not a burden, but a precious resource. Are you ready to let the past fade without denying your own light? The past does not define you. You have the power to release it. Don't let your yesterday's hurts obscure your today's brilliance. You are a living flame, and even when you have been broken, you can rise again, brighter than ever. To forgive is not to forget. It's choosing to let the light of your soul shine, without the past holding you in darkness.